Hello everyone, Dr. Suneel Dhand, internal medicine physician. Welcome to another video. The diet that is most likely to give anybody cancer. This is an absolutely tragic topic. We are seeing cancer rates go up dramatically. This trend has been going on for a few years. I do believe that there are some unique factors, especially over the last 5 years or so, which have resulted in spikes of cancer, but this trend has been going on for a decade or more. And I believe the number one factor is related to the toxic food environment. And finally, the mainstream media is catching onto this. Eventually, things get too big for even the gross corrupt mainstream media to ignore. Take a look at this very recent article. So this was published in the Daily Mail. The ultra-processed diet that experts believe gives you cancer. Britain's top doctors now blame modern foods for unprecedented spike in cancer rates. Glad to see that British doctors are now saying this. Now in the United States, the system is much more corrupted. It's corrupted in the UK as well, albeit under a different guise. But I'm sure that eventually American doctors will start to talk more about this in the mainstream. It is a disturbing phenomenon that so far doctors have been unable to fully explain. Cancer, a disease most often associated with older age, is becoming increasingly common in the under 40s. And the situation is really bad. This month, a major study found people born in 1990 are 3 times more likely to develop certain forms of the disease than those over the age of 70. Well, if that's not a wake-up call, I don't know what is. So what is fueling the trend? Numerous theories have been put forward. Antibiotic overuse, mobile phone radiation, and even invisible particles of plastic in drinking water. But a growing number of experts are pointing to one major cause: ultra-processed foods. Yes, I completely concur with that. Ultra-processed foods are ready-made foods including bread, cereals, and even salad dressing, packed with artificial ingredients used to preserve, add flavor, and enhance texture. Well, I've talked about this many times for a few years in videos. Processed foods are the absolute bane of society. And all you have to do is look at ingredient labels. And actually bread, modern day bread, is one of the most heavily processed foods in countries like the USA and UK. Bread should contain only 4 or 5 ingredients, but it contains many more than that. All of these fake processed pro-inflammatory ingredients. Some have even gone as far as to say they could be as dangerous as tobacco and should come with a cigarette-style health warning. I concur with that as well. So here is a professor, oncologist, and chief clinician at Cancer Research UK. He's raised the alarm over the disturbing rise in cancer in young people and linked it to increased consumption of junk food. And he was actually speaking at an American meeting, saying the growing body of research suggests that some bowel cancers could be initiated by changes in the gut caused by low-fiber, high-sugar diets. And we cannot overstate how new ultra-processed foods are to the human diet. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents, didn't really eat much in the way of processed foods. They ate simple foods. They talk about a book here written by a doctor, Ultra-Processed People, saying that it was a bestseller, and there's no doubt ultra-processed foods are the biggest lifestyle change in the last 40 years. We have more than a dozen good quality studies indicating the link between cancer and ultra-processed foods. They then talk about the Princess of Wales, age 42, one of several high-profile cases of early onset cancer. And this is a very important point. Even if you come from a wealthier background and you try to initiate changes, get healthier even later in life, although the body does have an amazing capacity to regenerate and recover, the concern is that some damage would already have been done because of the sheer quantity of processed foods which have become ubiquitous in our food supply. This doctor here talks about a shocking number of young patients, some under the age of 25. These are people who don't have any known genetic predisposition and they're not overweight. So once again, what is ultra-processed food? The term ultra-processed is a relatively recent classification developed by researchers in Brazil to describe food that has undergone the most manufacturing in large-scale factories and with sophisticated technology. And according to a 2019 study, ultra-processed foods make up almost 60% of the average UK diet. In the US, it's over 70%. But listen to this, it rises to over 80% for poorer people and children. So I put a link down below to the actual article, and it gets into more detail about what ultra-processed foods are. But as I've said many times, fake foods that are typically packaged. You look at the ingredient labels. By the way, reading ingredient labels is a habit you must get into. Once you start, you cannot stop. Read the ingredient labels and look at the amount of chemicals, things that you don't recognize, that are in ingredients industrially manufactured, while food corporations rake in billions and trillions of dollars. People are getting sicker right now. Ultimately, the best thing you can do is eat as natural as possible. Eat real food, clean food. Buy the ingredients yourself, ideally organic, but if you can't afford organic, at least get fresh ingredients. Make food yourself at every opportunity so that you avoid all of these additives, all of these seed oils, all of these corn syrups, sugars, which are also very pro-inflammatory. Remember, cancer feeds off sugar, so you definitely want to limit the amount of sugar in your diet. But go natural, go clean. If your great-grandparents didn't eat it and it wasn't available to them, then you're better off avoiding it as much as possible. Am I saying that it's realistic to cut processed food consumption to zero? Probably not, especially if you eat out, you're going to be getting some processed foods, but have an awareness of it. It's so important for you and your family. The number one thing you can do for your health is to get into the habit of eating clean, real food and avoiding that processed junk. And we're getting increasing links shown with a wide variety of devastating diseases, including cancer. You definitely don't want this to make you sick and then to become a customer of the medical industrial complex and big pharma that is going to benefit from you getting sick. I hear now that in many parts of the United States, including California, which is where I read this, venture capital is now coming in and buying infusion chemotherapy clinics. It is seen as a very lucrative business. Totally disgusting situation. So please, you and your families, be very, very careful out there. Thanks everyone for watching. Dr. Suneel Dhand. Check out my website in the links below. Hit the like button if you like this video and the bell button for more similar videos in the future. We will speak again very soon.